This framework has been traditionally used in the medical schools and psychological studies. But then it was Parker Palmer. She wrote a book about courage to teach. That was the first time when Parker Palmer used this framework, name, claim, and aim in education, in teaching, for the classroom teachers. So I'm going to also use this framework for our workshop today, just to have you some idea that what exactly this stepping back may look like. So any idea what this framework may talk about? I'm going to describe the framework in a while, but I'm just asking you. Anyone would like to unmute themselves and talk about what it looks like to them, like name, claim, and aim? It looks catchy though. Anyone would like? I'd love to appreciate a couple of comments. Any guess? Come on, we are all going to teach, or we are all teaching. Yes, Tariq, go on.
Thank you. I'm from Genetic Credit College. So I didn't introduce myself in the beginning, so that's why I told it. So name, claim, and aim, as far as I can understand, name is to identify the problem or the anxieties or the crisis or the strategical hardship. Claim is that whether I am having it or not, how far I have faced it. So that is some sort of claiming. And aiming maybe what would be the way out. That means to overcome these particular crises or anxieties or problems, what we should do. That would be the aim. Thank you.
You should do this workshop. You're wonderful. I'm impressed. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
One important point about this framework is that it's a process of teaching. That means as long as you teach, we are supposed to go through this process days after days. It's not like, your teaching career is not like linear, that you go for name and then claim and then aim and that's all. So that means, you're not learning. So if you are a teacher who is all for learning, then you always have to go back to this cycle, this vicious cycle of teaching. It's a process, there's a cycle. And here I'm going to describe what it may look like, as somebody nicely described. Name is what am I feeling in the difficult moment of teaching. It's very important to be able to name those feelings. You can see that I'm using a highlighter since I have dark background. Okay, so here I'm going about this framework, name, claim, and aim. So I'm going to discuss this framework, what it looks like. Like the first question in naming part is what am I feeling in the difficult moment of teaching? One tip I'm going to give, when you're using a PowerPoint slide, try to use the highlighter. If you can see my screen, you can see that I have been using the highlighter, but because I have dark background, so the highlighter may not be visible. But it is a very good idea to use highlighter so that if you want to point something to your student, you always can mark them and point them. So immediately it grabs attention. So this is another teaching technique so that you can get your students into your slide. And then coming back to the framework, identify the fears of discomfort. It is something that's very important, that to be able to identify what are those things that which are giving me some kind of discomfort. And as teachers, it's very important to be able to identify those problems. Okay, what was that? Where I'm not happy. In my case, I can talk about one thing, that I'm a very fast speaker. So often when I'm online, like I have to constantly tell myself that go slow, don't compromise your words. After saying that also, when I get to listen to my own recording, and hopelessly I find that I was very fast and probably some people may not follow me up. So this is the naming the discomfort, naming the fears. And in this figure, Kamar said that painful feelings in teaching are not signs of personal weakness. In this case, it is very important that when you are saying, oh, I did not do this right, and this thing did not go right, and this was a thing which I was afraid of, that doesn't mean that it was weakness. They were not. They were rather your conscious, being as a teacher. The second point is, claiming. So that is, somebody was saying how to claim with fears. What will discomfort tell you about your strength? So this is very important to talk about what your discomfort tell you about your strength.
So may I continue?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. So what your discomfort tell you about your strengths? So there is one saying that is crisis is the best test of virtue. So whenever we find ourselves in some sort of difficult situation, there actually our qualities brings us to that, gives us the strength to fight against those odds and will overcome that. So whenever I'm in discomfort or some sort of crisis, there my qualities will save me. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Tarikul. It's true that discomfort may be able to tell you about your strength. Parker Palmer, when he wrote that book in 1998, this book, as I said, this theory has been adapted from the studies of medical education and psychology. So he wanted to see how psychologically you can claim your fears, because sometimes we just think teachers are not robot. You cannot give them a ready-made technique that, okay, use this technique is gonna be working. Teachers, we are also human. So before every time when I go to the classroom, I realize how much cognitive load I have. So that means this framework may be able to identify that cognitive load and maybe may help you, okay, what are my anxieties? What are those things which are making me uncomfortable? Then coming to the claiming part, which is in the middle, try to find out, okay, I have this weakness maybe, but what are my strengths? What are the best things I can do? And the third one, as Azran already summed up at the end, aim. What is something that I can change? And these three steps are, as we talked in the previous slide, that it's a process of learning. That the process of teaching is a cycle, and it's a never-ending cycle. Maybe you end one cycle and begin another cycle, and that's how we can be better teacher.